Sunday dinner at my parents' house had always been mandatory. Even after the divorce, even with 2 kids to wrangle, I still showed up every week because my mother insisted family time mattered. She'd set the dining room table with her good china, make pot roast, and create the illusion that we were still the perfect family we'd never actually been. This particular Sunday, my brother Nathan arrived late as usual, making a grand entrance through the dining room doors like a celebrity at a premiere. Sorry, he said, kissing Mom's cheek. Conference call with investors. You know how it is when you're running a successful company. My 10-year-old daughter, Emma, looked up from her plate. What's your company do, Uncle Nathan? Commercial real estate development, sweetheart. Very complicated, very lucrative. He sat down across from me and smiled. Not everyone in the family can handle that kind of pressure. I felt the familiar knot forming in my stomach. My 7-year-old son, Michael, was focused on his mashed potatoes, oblivious to the tension. How's the bookkeeping going, Sarah? Nathan asked, loading his plate. Still doing data entry for that accounting firm. I'm a senior financial analyst, actually, and it's going well. Right, analyst. He said it like I claimed to be an astronaut. Must be nice having a simple job. Clock in, clock out, no real responsibility. Emma watched the exchange, her fork paused halfway to her mouth. Mom changed the subject to Emma's upcoming school play, but Nathan wasn't finished. Throughout dinner, he made small comments about my modest car in the driveway, my quaint rental house, and how I was doing my best as a single mother. Then, as Mom was serving dessert, Emma asked the question I'd been dreading. Uncle Nathan, why do you always say mean things about Mom? The table went quiet. Nathan's smile didn't waver. Mean things? Emma, honey, I'm just being honest. Your mom is the family failure. She'll never amount to anything. Not like me, not like your grandfather was. Some people are built for success, and some people, he gestured at me, aren't. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Michael looked confused. I felt my face burning, but kept my expression neutral. Nathan, Dad said quietly, that's enough. What? The kids should understand reality. Sarah barely scraped through community college, took forever to get any job, and got divorced because she couldn't keep a husband happy. I'm actually doing her a favor by being honest. A tear rolled down Emma's cheek. She looked at me like I could fix this, make it not true. I reached over and took her hand. It's okay, sweetheart. But he said you're a failure, Emma whispered. People say lots of things, I said softly. I looked at Nathan. We should go. The kids have school tomorrow. I gathered our things while my children sat in stunned silence. Mom tried to apologize, but I just kissed her cheek and left. In the car, Emma cried quietly. Michael asked if we were poor. We're fine, I told them. We have everything we need. That night, after putting the kids to bed, I sat in my home office and looked at the files I'd been avoiding. Morrison Development Group, Nathan's company. The one he'd started 6 years ago with his own money and brilliant business sense, according to every family dinner conversation since. What Nathan didn't know, what nobody in the family knew, was that I'd been the anonymous investor who'd saved his company from bankruptcy 3 years ago. He'd overextended on a commercial property deal, made promises he couldn't keep, and been days away from losing everything. I'd bought in through a shell corporation, providing the capital injection he desperately needed, 60% ownership in exchange for $6 million. Nathan thought his mystery investor was a venture capital firm that didn't want publicity. He had no idea it was his failure sister who'd been quietly building a stock portfolio since college, turning a small inheritance from our grandmother into substantial wealth through careful investments. I planned to tell him eventually to use it as leverage to make him treat me with basic respect. But watching my daughter cry over dinner had changed my timeline. Monday morning, I called David, Nathan's business partner and the only other person who knew my identity. David, it's Sarah. Time for that emergency shareholders meeting. You're sure? This will blow up your family. My brother called me a failure in front of my children, I'm sure. We scheduled it for 3 o'clock that afternoon at the company's downtown office. David would inform Nathan it was a mandatory meeting with the majority shareholder, nothing more. I picked up Emma from school at 2:30. Her teacher had called to say she'd been quiet all day, not participating like usual. I don't feel good, Mom, Emma said in the car. What hurts? My stomach and my head. Can I stay home tomorrow? I recognized anxiety when I saw it. My confident, outgoing daughter had been shattered by one dinner. "Emma, do you trust me?" She nodded, though her eyes were uncertain. "Then I need you to do something brave with me. Can you do that?" 20 minutes later, I walked into Morrison Development Group's office with Emma's hand in mine. Michael was at his after-school program, but Emma needed to see this, needed to understand that her mother wasn't a failure. The receptionist looked surprised. "Can I help you?" "Sarah Morrison for the 3 o'clock shareholders meeting." "I'll let Mr. Morrison know his sister is here." "Actually, I'm not here as his sister." David emerged from the conference room. "Sarah, Emma, come on back." Nathan was already seated at the conference table, looking annoyed and checking his expensive watch. His expression shifted from confusion when he saw me to irritation when he noticed Emma. "What is this? Why is Sarah here? And why did you bring your kid to an office? This is completely unprofessional, David." "Sit down, Nathan." David's voice was firm. "The majority shareholder is here to discuss company direction." "Fine, but Sarah needs to wait outside. This is business." "I'm not waiting outside," I said quietly, guiding Emma to a chair. "I'm the person you're meeting with." Nathan laughed. "What are you talking about?" David placed a folder in front of Nathan. "Sarah Morrison is the majority shareholder of Morrison Development Group. She has owned 60% of this company for 3 years. The color drained from Nathan's face. "That's not possible. My investor is Cascade Capital Holdings, which is a subsidiary of Morrison Family Investments," David said, "which is wholly owned by your sister." I watched Nathan process this, watched him open the folder and see the documentation, the stock certificates, the corporate structure, my signature on everything. "You." He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. "You don't have $6 million. "I have considerably more than that," I said calmly. "I've been investing since I was 20 years old. Started with grandmother's inheritance, added savings from every job I've ever had, and reinvested every dividend. I educated myself on market analysis, studied financial statements, learned to identify undervalued assets. I have a portfolio worth approximately $14 million. Emma squeezed my hand. She didn't understand all the numbers, but she understood that something important was happening. "This is a joke," Nathan said. "Some kind of revenge for yesterday. Yesterday just moved up my timeline. I've been meaning to have this conversation for a while." I pulled out my own folder. "David, can you summarize the company's current financial position?" David opened his laptop. "We're profitable but overextended again. Nathan has committed to 3 new development projects without securing adequate financing. We need approximately $8 million in the next 60 days or we'll default on our construction loans." Nathan's jaw tightened. "I have investors interested. I'm handling it." "You have verbal commitments," David corrected. "Nothing in writing. Nothing binding." I looked at my brother. "Here's what's going to happen. I'm providing the $8 million. In exchange, I'm taking an active role in company operations." "Absolutely not. This is my company." "This is my company. I own 60%. You own 25%. David owns 15%. I've been a silent partner because I wanted you to succeed on your own merits. But you've made it clear you can't be trusted with unchecked authority. You can't do this." "I can, and I am. David will become CEO. You'll stay on as Director of Development, but all projects over $2 million require my approval." Nathan stood up. "I'll fight this. I'll sue. I'll tell everyone you stole my company." "With what money?" "Your mortgage to the hilt personally. Your house, your cars, everything is leveraged." I kept my voice even, and I didn't steal anything. I saved your company when you were about to lose it. You've been operating on my money for 3 years. Why? His voice cracked slightly. "Why would you do this?" "Because you're my brother. Because despite everything, I wanted you to succeed. I just didn't want you to know it came from the family failure." Emma had been watching silently. Now she spoke up. "My mom isn't a failure." Nathan looked at her, then at me. "You brought your kid to this to humiliate me." "I brought my daughter because she needed to see that words don't define reality. You told her I'd never amount to anything. I wanted her to see the truth." David cleared his throat. "Nathan, for what it's worth, you're a talented developer. You just need financial oversight. This arrangement can work if you let it." "Work for who? For her?" Nathan grabbed his jacket. "You want the company? Fine, have it. I'm done." "You're not done," I said. "You're just not in charge anymore. Your salary continues, your projects continue, with approval. This doesn't have to be the end unless you make it one. He stared at me for a long moment, then walked out. The door slammed behind him. Emma looked worried. Is Uncle Nathan mad at you? Very mad. Did you really save his company? I did. With your own money, like money you earned? Money I earned and invested carefully over many years. She processed this. So you're not a failure? I pulled her close. No, baby, I'm not. And more importantly, failure isn't about money. It's about character, about showing up for the people you love, about working hard and being kind. David smiled. For what it's worth, Sarah, you've been one of the best investors I've ever worked with. Your financial analysis skills are exceptional. Thank you, David. What happens now? He asked. You run the company. I'll review major decisions and provide capital as needed. Nathan can participate or not. His choice. Over the next few weeks, the family learned the truth. Mom called, stunned. Dad said he'd always known I was smart but had no idea how smart. Nathan stopped coming to Sunday dinners. Emma asked questions about investing, about how I'd built my portfolio. I showed her the spreadsheets, explained compound interest, and taught her about research and patience. Can girls be good at money? She asked one evening. Girls can be good at anything they choose to be good at. Some people will tell you otherwise. Uncle Nathan told you I was a failure. What did you learn? That people can be wrong, really, really wrong. Exactly. 3 months later, David called with good news. The projects were back on track. The financing was secured. Morrison Development Group was stable and growing. Nathan is asking to meet with you, David said. What does he want? I think he wants to apologize, or at least try to. I agreed to coffee at a neutral location. Nathan showed up looking tired. I've been an asshole, he said without preamble. Yes, you have. I didn't know about the money, about your investments. I assumed that I was exactly what you told everyone I was, a failure. He nodded, looking miserable. I'm sorry, especially for what I said in front of Emma. That was inexcusable. It was. Can we fix this? Not the company stuff. That's working fine with David. I mean us, the family thing. I thought about Emma, about the lessons she was learning, about whether revenge or reconciliation was the better teacher. We can try, I said. But things are different now. You don't get to disrespect me anymore. Not in front of my kids, not in front of anyone. Agreed. And you're going to therapy, because whatever makes you need to put me down to feel good about yourself needs to be addressed. He started to protest, then stopped. Okay. It wasn't perfect. Nathan struggled with the new dynamic, with not being the family success story. But slowly, painfully, he learned to treat me with respect. Emma thrived. Her teacher reported she'd become more confident, more willing to speak up. She told her entire class her mom was a business owner and investor. One Sunday, 6 months after everything changed, Nathan came to dinner and brought a gift for Emma, a book about women in business. Thought you might like this, he said awkwardly. Emma looked at me for permission. I nodded. Thank you, Uncle Nathan. You know, your mom really is brilliant. I should have said that a long time ago. After dinner, Emma pulled me aside. Is Uncle Nathan nice now? He's trying to be better. That's what matters. Because you own his company? Because he finally realized that success comes in many forms and that underestimating people is always a mistake. She hugged me tight. I'm glad you're my mom. I'm glad you're my daughter. That night, I updated my investment spreadsheets while Emma did homework at the kitchen table. Michael was building with blocks. My modest rental house felt like a palace. Nathan's company was thriving under better management. My portfolio had grown to $16 million. But more than any of that, my children knew their mother was capable, strong, and successful. Emma looked up from her homework. Mom, when I grow up, can you teach me how to invest? Absolutely. We'll start with a small amount and build from there. And can I be successful without being mean to people? I smiled. That's the only kind of success worth having. She returned to her homework, confident and secure. The family failure had raised a daughter who knew her worth. And that, more than any bank balance, was the real victory.